Hello, I'm Oriana Fox. Thank you for tuning in to Multiple O's, the spin-off podcast for my talk show, The O Show. The O Show is a live performance piece that mines the conventions of daytime TV talk shows for all that they're worth. It features artists and other experts who have no difficulty spilling the beans about their lives and opinions, especially when they defy norms and conventions. So if you're interested in candid confessions, nonconformity, creativity, and mental health, you've come to the right place. Hello, listeners. Oriana here. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Multiple O's. This one does something a little different from previous ones. It's an interview that I carried out long before I started the podcast. To be more precise, it was recorded in summer of 2017. That should give you a sense of the context. It was done as research, so it was not intended to be aired. Hopefully, it's listenable. In other words, like, it wasn't recorded, with optimum sound quality in mind. We've done the best we can to make it listenable. Thank you to Stacey Harvey for assistance in this. This episode is an interview with the artist Katherine Araniello, who's unfortunately no longer with us. Sadly, she passed away in 2019. Before I tell you a bit more about her, I just want to give a heads up that this episode includes profanities and references to adult topics. And if you know Katherine's work, that should come as no surprise. So if you're listening in front of people who might not be ready for that, do consider wearing headphones. It was important for me to find a way to disseminate this material. As I said, it's the recording of Katherine Araniello, who was an artist, but she was also my friend and former boss. In fact, if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be living in the UK. She was instrumental in me getting my last work visa, which led to my becoming a permanent resident. I digress. Anyway, she was an artist who made essential and challenging work engaging with agency, disability, and the aesthetics of the body. Her work was politically fearless and infused with subversive humor. Importantly, under no circumstances would Katherine Araniello fall in line with what was expected of her. If she did it in such a way that it was so over the top or so strange that it became, in her terminology, a head fuck. Sadly, as I said, she passed away back in February 2019, but she leaves behind a really rich body of work, and you can access it via her YouTube channel. I'm going to put links to that in the show notes. Thank you so much to Katherine's partner, Tracey Jannaway, her brother Alistair, and mom Joan for giving their consent to share this material in this way. I'll start firstly by having Katherine Araniello introduce herself via a mashup of excerpts from her work. Here she is. Enjoy.
I'm going to talk about me because I am someone that has a lot to say to you. Art is life. My disability is my art. Follow me on my journey to die. Swiftly moving on, I'm having such a nice day today. I'm going to pay my nails. Bedroom yoga is all the craze. I feel so amazed. Pick a red devilish. Not sure which one to choose, but who cares? I'm going on a Caribbean cruise. Eating, drinking, laughing, living on big. Everyone wants me to join in all the fun. I'm the life and soul of every party. Come to the party, the pity party. It is so much fun. Please take me, 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 take me. To your party, I want to be there. I am a sick bitch, I got the sick bitch blues. I am sick as a dog, on doxycycline. The best things in life are free. Pity does not grow on trees. I want your pity. That's what I want. I want your pity. That's what I want. Tragedy. It's a cunt. Epidemic of disease. Won't leave me alone. No, 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 no. Contagious. Genetic defect. Born like this. Born like this.
When Katherine was first born, everyone thought she was normal until she showed no signs of crawling. After a few months, she was diagnosed with a fatal crippling disease called spinal muscular atrophy.
I wouldn't want it any other way. Tomorrow is another day. I wanna get under your skin. Feel like you, smell like you, walk like you, talk like you, fuck like you. I just wish my body was normal so that I could do ordinary things like other people do.
Like what?
45 vagina, skirt of pancakes, projectile temples. Every day is a fuck off saying, man is bad, never so sad, a motherfucking beast, turn up the heat. So, I am someone who is exceptional, an overachiever, motivated, and clever. But more importantly, I'm special, brave, and I bring cheers of joy to people.
Hello again. So in this interview, I start out talking with Katherine about the possibility of her being a guest on a future episode of The O Show. Sadly, that didn't come to pass. So again, another reason why I felt it was important to broadcast this interview in some way. So the first question I asked her was about her use of personas. She and I had that in common as artists. But I said to her that if she were to be a guest on The O Show, I'd want her to be herself. And this was Katherine's response.
I don't know. I just think that I think personally, I'm better at responding in a sort of persona as opposed to trying to justify and explain my work. So I just feel that once I start trying to explain it, I sort of feel that I'm becoming a bit preachy and
Oh, yeah.
Okay. No, I do actually, and I'm trying to. I don't know, like I'm coming across as somebody who's really hot on disability politics and all the issues, but I actually don't think that I am. Yeah, I'm just sort of an artist that sort of responds to what's going on around me. And yeah, when you worked for me, I was very much, homing in on the whole sort of assisted suicide. Assisted suicide was a new thing to me, but I have to be honest, I'm bored of it.
Yeah.
And it's like I can't bear keep. So now I'm more interested in, awkwardness, playing the victim, and also, but you see, even now I feel that the way I'm talking is really boring. So what I do is I tend to. For example, the video vlogs that you mentioned, they are done in a really, because I had a look at other video vlogs and I just noticed how the way that people do them, one is they're real and they're really wanting you to either buy something, but they might be selling makeup or something, or they just want to talk about their lives and really want people to subscribe and engage and to follow them. And then I also watch some vlogs by a disabled person who sees himself as a sort of inspirational, motivational individual. So he's talking about disability. And I just thought, right, we're going to reverse everything here. And I thought, I'm going to do a vlog that is the most dullest, dreariest thing that actually doesn't tell people about anything. And so to me, it was like an art piece. Just like a performance to camera, but done in a way that it's so deadpan and so absolutely not saying anything about anything. And also just homing in on all those. So it doesn't even necessarily mention disability, but if it does, it just sort of goes on about it. And it's probably more exciting to watch paint dry than to listen to vlog. But it was all considered. That was what I wanted.
Just to give another taste of what Katherine is describing here, here's another short excerpt from one of her riveting vlogs.
Every day I do amazing things. For example, today I had a cup of tea. I got up, I came downstairs, I checked my emails, and I looked at my animals, and I said hello to them. And then after that, some post came. And it wasn't for me, it was for somebody else. And so after that, I went back to the computer and continued to check my emails.
And now back to the interview.
And I really like doing it because it sort of suits. I wanted it to be flat. I wanted it to be not animated at all. And so I started doing the vlogs a while ago. I sort of stopped doing them at the moment. I still like doing them. And then also Facebook, for me, that is really good at getting inspiration for work because so many people want to make postings about, they use it as a personal diary, or they tell you like what hospital they're in, they're waiting in A&E, they're about to have their blood taken, and it's like fucking hell. So what I do is I just all this stuff that I've got immediate access to, I then create work from. And I guess, I don't know, it's like I make work because I turn the dull into something that even what I find interesting. It's like turning it around and it covers so lots of things. I wouldn't know where to start. It's like my website, I've been working on it a bit lately and just, it's like in a way creating it's like I don't try to explain anything on it. It comes across as maybe quite flippant, but there's stuff on it there that I put little paragraphs under some of the videos that don't tell anybody anything. So that it doesn't actually.
I didn't notice that. I think I just looked at the stuff rather than the descriptions.
So it's just, or I've literally just lifted
So
up.
that's part of the persona thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so when I went to Stanford University recently, I was invited as a visiting lecturer, I think they call it. And I went into the theatre space and did a talk. And so what I did is I put on a persona. So I said, oh, hi, yeah, thank you for inviting me here today. It was quite a struggle to get here. And actually, it's amazing that I got here anyhow because, and so I play the victim. So I play this person who is really lucky to be alive, and I home in on all the sort of stereotypical imagery that one might have on disability, and then I integrate my work to it. So then, for example, I was like, part of one of the things that I like doing, one of my hobbies, is I like to draw. And I did a little animated drawing recently, and I showed them the wow 6-inch clips thing which is animated stick.
But what happens, like, when do people buy into that persona? Because, like, that happens with
Some
my
people-
persona. People just believe that Osho character. They just think that's me, and they don't even recognize me.
It would confuse them.
Yeah, so,
Some people-
do people just buy that, and then do they not get the critique?
Some people get it,
Yeah,
and some people don't.
yeah,
And I just think if they want to know about it, go onto my website, read my blog, and then it will put things into perspective.
okay.
So it will put.
So you're making them work for it.
Absolutely. People don't listen if we try to lecture.
Right. Oh, I see.
I believe that I believe that you create a humour that people may or may not engage in. Yeah, because I guess if you talk to me and I give off the persona as a victim, people will believe it.
Yeah,
But it can be quite amusing.
yeah,
So yeah, it is a challenge, and it's also again in complete opposition to how I really feel. But I sort of like reversed it because again I did some research.
right, because you don't want to be preaching at them. Like,
No,
right,
because it doesn't work.
yeah,
So I looked at some disabled motivational speakers, which is quite hot in America. And
all right.
and it's just
Yeah,
because these individuals see themselves as special
yeah,
or as something people that have been given something to be able to give it back or
yeah,
encourage or infuse or motivate, stimulate, inspire,
yeah,
and all that shit.
yeah,
And that's what I've reversed it. So I go there and I am uninspiring. I do not motivate. I talk in a very deadpan way.
yeah,
And I'm not trying to make people laugh or anything. But of course, naturally how I do it does create a reaction.
yeah.
But yes,
What reaction is that?
some people got it, some of the students were confused.
Yeah.
Yeah. And some of them got the subversion.
Yeah.
And some of them just didn't know. They didn't understand how. It reminds, I think the stereotypical response, unfortunately, is it starts to put people into memory lane when they think about their mother who's got Parkinson, their grandmother who's in a wheelchair.
Right.
That's a given. If you're a disabled person and people see you, it starts to, create memories for those individuals.
Yeah.
Because they're trying to make connections.
Yeah.
If they haven't met a disabled person or had close interaction, and they've only seen the media bullshit that's pumps out at them all the time. And of course they're in a place of disarray. So I just help to push that disarray even further. And yeah, what are we talking about?
I wanted to talk about how you dress and how you do your hair.
Yeah, the thing is, I read that and I just thought, wow, I'm not actually. It's just my style. I've always
Just your style.
No, because I've always, you know how.
But you have style. Like I don't have any style.
Well, you choose to dress like that. No, because I think I've always been conscious of how the fashion industry, or whatever they try to, first of all they create gender specific clothing, and so you must dress like this, or this is for girls, and this is for boys. This perfume is so that whole sort of commodity thing. I've always been consciously not ever going to, engage with that or comply with it. It's about compliance.
Yeah.
So, I prefer men's perfume to women's perfume because women's perfume is very sweet. It's nothing to do with me. It's in my consciousness. I will not be dictated to as to how I should dress or what I should wear, or the fact that my hair is red sticking up at the age of 51 is probably inappropriate to someone of my age, I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Because I can't bear to be, I'm always, I wear round shirts, not because I'm trying to say I'm neither male nor female, it's because it's about, because of my scoliosis actually, because round shirts are bigger, and I do prefer the design.
Mm.
So it's for those probably very disinteresting reasons, but I'm not sort of going out there sort of asking people to look at me in a particular way, because I was very self-conscious from a young age whilst we, and people staring at me, but I got over it.
Yeah.
And now I just don't, I'm oblivious.
Right.
Of course I'm aware of it, but it just doesn't touch me. It doesn't make me feel, it doesn't destabilise me, or people could just, so, but also I think that there's a hypocrisy going on, because if I'm doing things that are, say, playing the victim, but I look as I do, then I don't look like a victim. So that's a bit of a mindfuck as well.
Yeah.
I think for the spectator. So I sort of like, I think I like just sort of rearranging everything so that people are, it's sort of, there's never any clear, definitive conclusion, or, I don't know.
Yeah. You call attention to your appearance because people are going to stare anyway, So you're sort of like saying, they're staring at me because of my hair, not because of my...
Well, but you see, when I was on holiday, some people did say to me, they made a statement, see, this is the thing, is that the assumption is that if you look outrageous or you look different, like, for example, with my hair, that it's something that you're doing purposefully, or it's like you're trying to say something, but what if I'm not? Where does it sit?
No.
It's like, how, because, it was...
So you think you're just doing it out of habit now?
No, not out of habit, no, I'm doing it because it's part of my identity.
Yeah.
It's how it is.
Yeah.
It's like if I said to you, why do you dress the way you do?
Yeah.
What can you say about that? Have you chosen to look?
Oh, I can say something about it. I think it's like for me, it's like a wanting to be invisible thing more than, not draw attention to myself.
I think that I am invisible irrespective
of
whether my hair is like this or not. But it is nice. I mean, I'm not doing it to draw public attention. I think that's important. I really am not.
Yeah.
Years ago, when I was in my 20s, there was a documentary being made about oppression and disability, and I was asked, and again, it took me by surprise, what are they talking about? I don't even think about oppression. I guess I go against it.
Right.
I'm in opposition to it because I won't conform to how society expects us to look. So as a disabled person, maybe I am expected to look a bit dowdy. Maybe my hair is unusually. It is a style. It is identity, but it isn't really. I think I just like, I'm comfortable the way I look. It's a bit boring. That's how it is.
That's not boring at all. I mean, very few people, I think, feel that way. Especially women. They don't tend to not feel comfortable with how they look.
They don't. But how can I
most women don't feel comfortable with how they look.
I stopped worrying about that years ago because it's all fucked up anyway.
Yeah.
So if I start to home in on, oh dear, my nose is slightly, not quite quite crooked because of my scoliosis on my jaw. My teeth don't meet when I close my mouth. So I mean, it's like, what's the point? Why not? That's maybe I think I do use all those things to my advantage. So in the work, I started to home in on certain things, play the victim, play the sort of yeah, I am conscious of how society sees someone like me. They could see somebody who had severe mental health, and if they had a choice, they'd probably still rather be the person who at least had their limbs, all four limbs working. But this is how society is.
Yeah.
So I am consciously aware, but I don't wear my hair to make a statement. It's involved. It's just how I like it. It's a bit like Orlan. Have you seen her hair?
Yeah.
Rocio Oliver. I mean, look at her.
Yeah.
But look at her. She defines all those.
Yeah.
I think maybe what it is that maybe we are like just not giving a shit about what the society's expectations.
Yeah.
And therefore we just take and you have to be strong in your personality to do that. And I know Rocio doesn't give a damn. She does whatever she wants to do.
Yeah.
She's amazing. And it's people like that I find inspirational, if I can use.
Yeah.
So it's not me trying to, it's just a strong identity, I think. But it isn't trying to, I think maybe, obviously it means I'm not concerned about being looked at.
Yeah.
Because of my hair. I mean, if somebody says, your hair looks great, I think that's nice. I like compliments.
Yeah.
Where some people shy away from compliments. Or it makes them feel awkward or whatever. So.
Yeah.
I don't know that's useful.
No, that's really good. It's really, it's really great.
Are you telling the truth about it?
No, I'm serious. I'm serious. No, it is all really great. Yeah. It fits in with my theories very well.
Does it?
Yes, it does.
I don't have to rewrite.
No, I don't have to rewrite my theories, so that's good. So I have two questions, and one is going back to what you said. You stopped feeling self-conscious about that a long time ago, or worrying about that a long time ago. So I wanted to ask, why do you think you stopped worrying about it, or how did you change? What led you to change? Because you did feel
as a child, I was very conscious of how people used to stare at me.
Yeah.
And it used to make me feel really awkward and really self-conscious. And also to the point where I couldn't even talk to normal children. I found it really hard mentally to interact.
Yeah.
And then I was actually placed in special schools, which was fine, but when I came out, when I first went to Goldsmiths, you remember, I felt very self-conscious.
Yeah.
I had a terrible time trying to communicate to the students because I felt different.
Yeah.
So when you were there and I was there, I was a very different person to how I am. Yeah, but it's a process, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's through a process, and I think, I'm not saying I'm always felt confident, but it's probably only in the last few years where I just don't care anymore. So the question was, when did it start to change?
Yeah. Well, I mean, also, because your style of dressing and doing your hair. So when did you start doing your hair that way?
Years ago.
Why did you start doing your hair that way?
I saw everybody was starting to put outside their hair at the time. I was like, oh wow, I really want to do that. Again, I was quite nervous to do it.
When was this?
This would have been when I was about 19, 18.
Yeah.
And it seems that everyone that looked cool had outside hair.
Okay.
So I just thought, I want to do that, so I did it. And then it just became too cool. Everybody had outside hair. So I had to change it.
Right.
I didn't want to be part of a clan, so I changed it to red.
I see.
And it took me ages to actually get this type of red, which is more like orange. And that's where so again it was a conscious. It was I guess it was a step from being quite self-conscious to wanting to look cool.
Yeah, wanting to look cool.
Exactly.
Yeah.
At a young age, where
everybody wants to fit in that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I just kept it up. I'd be very depressed with my hair. I can't imagine my hair being the colour it is, because I don't really like the colour, the natural colour it is. I really don't like it. So I would feel it's like the reversal. So if it was back to its normal colour, and I would feel uncomfortable, very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Because it wouldn't be as it is now, which is probably vivacious. And
Yeah. It wouldn't be you. It would
exactly.
be, yeah.
I don't really like it when I see other people with red hair.
Anyway, I also wanted to ask you about the whole, like, I wouldn't want to be in the mainstream, or performance art just stays in its venues and it stays in these closed environments, and it's preaching to the converted, basically. That, is it really affecting social change? Is it really making change happen?
Well, the thing is that...
in these
I think
settings.
for a disabled person, I think it's more of a challenge, actually. But I do think being disabled, being anything other than the norm, whatever that is really popular, isn't it? It's like people. But for me, a lot of my work always used to happen inside the ghetto, like disability festivals or opportunities for disabled people. It's actually now managed to break past that. And so I do feel that I'm taking sort of disability representation to a new audience, and albeit they're an art audience. However, they won't be so familiar with disability context. And so I think people like vacuum cleaner, performance artist, mental health, Martin O'Brien with his CF, he's a PhD, and Danny Oliver, dyspraxia. So you got this like new sort of like group of like sort of live artists who haven't necessarily been, well, they haven't been in the same sort of, they haven't lived the same disability experience as I have. However, they're still bringing another type of disability to the forefront of performance art, and I think that's really, it's a good thing because it opens it up, and even though their experiences are different to mine, it's still about disability. So I guess I've found a niche where I can present work that does take it to an extreme. But yeah, I would feel very, I think for me it'll be very, I've chosen to maybe, it's very hard to present work. It's like, for example, I don't really show my brother my work because he just wouldn't get it. It's not because he's stupid, he just wouldn't. He wouldn't get it. And it's like, well, as artists, surely we just want to push ourselves and push like-minded people.
Yeah.
It's like, why should we be the disciples of the world? Who are we to ultimately...
But at the same time, if you don't communicate outside of that bubble, then you're limited in how much change.
Well, if you put it on social media, then you will.
No, because only your contacts are seeing your stuff.
No,
it's
if
still
you
a
make
bubble.
it public,
It's still a bubble. That's the whole thing. Like, everyone was shocked by Brexit and everyone's shocked by Trump being elected because nobody talks to anyone who doesn't agree with them already. That's the problem. Not the upgrade.
It's exasperating talking to people who
I know.
do you know what I mean? It's like, why?
Yeah.
And I did have to, it's really stressful. It's really, really stressful. I guess I choose to be around people that are going to help to elevate the way I think, not sort of suppress me.
Yeah.
I already live in an existence where, as a whole, society does oppress anyone that's different. Because I'm oppressed. So maybe, what was the critique?
I don't know the answer.
We are not taking it to where we need to take it.
Yeah, that we're not. Yeah, just that because we're staying in our own bubble, we're not affecting change like the way we could.
Yeah, for me personally, the only my own survival, I guess, in a world that is just so fucking fucked up is to just keep, pushing myself in the way that I think and subverting everything. The thing is that I think artists do take their work out into the public. So, for example, Patel in Glasgow, there were lots of interventions going on within the public domain. And it's like you can't make people that aren't interested look at it. How do you do that?
Mm.
It's like, how do you do it?
I don't know.
And but with Janak, I mean, we have created sort of fake stalls, and I think there are, we did that thing years ago at that university where they got them to sign my.
Yeah.
So there are. It's a lot that we artists
Yeah, you do.
Safe.
We do. Yeah.
We do.
Public interventions and things like that. We do try that.
Yeah.
Just to clue you in, DAG stands for Disabled Avant-Garde, which was a duo that Katherine was part of with the artist Aaron Williamson. The two of them made a lot of work together over the years, one of which was a public intervention. The piece was called Assisted Passage at Birkbeck University, where Katherine dressed in really dowdy clothes, nothing like the way she dresses in real life, hiding her bright orange hair under a woolen hat. She played up her look to be as pathetic and victim-like as possible. And Aaron stood with a megaphone and screamed out,
"Assisted passage, no!
No! Assisted passage, no!
Up to petition! Stand up petition! Katherine Araniello ticket to Zurich in Sweden!"
Please rest assured that Aaron Williamson does know that Zurich is in Switzerland, not Sweden, but it was all part of the joke, a joke that very few people in the public that day seemed to get because 37 people signed the petition against the budget airlines who were supposedly blocking her passage to visit the Dignitas clinic in Zurich. And so 37 people signed that petition, and not one of them asked or questioned why it was or whether or not Katherine really wanted to end her life, which, of course, in reality, she did not want to do. So that was the premise. Let's get back to the interview.
Yeah, you were talking about the way I look earlier. I mean, I maybe perhaps the way I look does change, does sort of challenge people's perceptions. The public who don't know who I am or what I do, or it will slightly, it's an alter. It's something that doesn't quite fit into the stereotype of how they imagine a disabled person looks.
Yeah.
Somebody. So I think that. So I am doing my bit to society to try to, I don't know.
Is it all right if we switch gears here and talk about, more specifically, about the work you did around the topic of assisted suicide?
It was about highlighting how ridiculous it was and how absurd it was, and this sort of ignorance and disbelief around believing that independence only comes through being able to physically do everything yourself. Which of course is bullshit. None of us do everything ourselves. I mean, you don't sort of destroy your when you recycle bin. I mean, you don't sort of you don't personally get it down to a sort of powder or dust, or turn it into something that can be reused again. So it's a whole chain, and we all are dependent on others for everything.
Yeah.
But obviously, depending on your situation in life, it will be higher. So, for example, somebody who has mental health issues, their dependency is going to be completely psychological support. I mean, people always have this, often is they say that, because I recently went on holiday and there was somebody on there who was also disabled, and he was somebody that he had had a really good job, he had loads of money, and he used to run or he was the co-owner, founder of BHS, which went into liquidation, shut down a few years ago. However, he was also something that became disabled 20 years ago. And not ever having a direct conversation with him. So it's hearing it secondhand through PAs one PA who I work with as an artist, collaborate with sometimes. This guy that had become disabled and was able to ride around on a scooter and physically, eat without assistance, etc., etc. His comments were to my PA, artist PA, was, how, I don't know how she does it. She is so brave. And that was just me eating and drinking and just doing normal things that you do on a holiday. It wasn't me like some, doing anything elaborate with a heart. It was literally just, and so his narrative for me was also, and also other people on the trip were also saying things to our PAs. I was so inspired by her. And all I was fucking doing was going around like everybody else, eating as much food as I could, ramming it down my throat, and going to the bar and having some drinks. I wasn't doing anything outrageous.
Right.
Okay, I have orange hair that sticks up. And I need assistance to with everything, even to get around the boat. And that was the commentary that sort of follows me.
Right.
So it's not vindictive commentary, but it's extremely, it's excruciatingly patronising. And then one of my PAs was told me that one of the passengers, etc., you really need to make sure that she covers up her arms because she's very sunburnt. So not in my earshot. So I was getting all this sort of...
Right, like you're a child.
Yeah, or someone that can't look after herself.
Yeah.
And so what I'm saying is that it sort of follows me. But the difference is that I just see it as material.
Yeah.
That will somehow, one way or another, not directly possibly, just come out in the work. So it's that narrative that follows me around.
Yeah.
I think, going back to assisted suicide, I think I put myself in the position of I was somebody who wanted to end my life, and which I absolutely didn't. So it was like parodying what was happening at the time.
Yeah, or the perception that people might have of you. Yeah. But so what was it? I wanted to ask you, like, what was it that first led you to do it? Like, what was the inspiration or the impetus behind the first time you addressed that topic?
It was really being quite alarmed as to what was happening in the media. And sort of this awareness that even such a thing existed, because for years, and still now, disabled people fought for equal rights and to have independence, we had to be in control of their own lives, etc., and and those that are politicised very much from a social model angle rather than a medical model. And suddenly everything had become topsy-turvy and everything was in disarray because I was witnessing disabled people themselves also that were political, fighting to have the right to end their life, and it just made absolute no sense to me. And there also was a disparity between any levels of equality because they were fighting for disabled and, quote, terminally ill people to be able to do this. They weren't saying, well, actually anybody who wants to end their lives, there should be clinics readily available for people to end their lives. So it was very much targeted at disabled and terminally ill people.
Yeah.
And so that's what I felt problematic. And then to get it, watching.
Yeah, which is like, it's counter to the argument of equality.
Exactly. There was there's a complete imbalance. And, and then what she, so-called victims, or the way the paparazzi were, it's like they became so sort of like, thirsty to watch somebody end their life until eventually they did. It has been BBC documented right to the point where somebody has gone to dignitatis where it is legal to a clinic and to end their lives. And what was really...
And they made a documentary, it was like on TV, wasn't it?
BBC,
I remember that.
Yeah, documentary. And I think what was really appalling about it from the very beginning for me was just what she, in a way, like a mirror reflection. Somebody said, well, I won't be able to curl my hair anymore. I won't be able to wash my face. And I just thought, well, I can't do that anyway. And why is it so? And also the ignorance around people not having a clue about, it just opened up so many things around. Like people not really able to sort of digest the difference between people still, the public at large that don't meet or know disabled people, have somebody disabled in their lives, don't understand the concept of being independent through assistance. Because what the media regurgitates all the time is documentaries that home in on people's lives where they have people dressed community nurses coming in and doing the bare basics. And to the general public, that's how they see disabled people living their lives. And so it's no wonder that anyone that becomes disabled or is diagnosed with a terminal illness, a majority of those people are in so much fear that they will want to terminate their lives prematurely.
Yeah.
And so I think it just opened up.
Yeah. Because there's so much ignorance around, how to live independently.
Yeah, people don't know that actually people don't realise that I'm not saying everybody, but I think there is still a huge amount of ignorance around that people don't believe that somebody who is disabled, and say disabled in the way that I am in instance, in everything. And so if I say to somebody, like for example, I saw my consultant last year, I won't see him every year, and he said, what are you doing at Christmas? I said, I'm cooking dinner. And again, he and I get on with him really well, but just the fact that I say that as an ordinary normal thing, quite normal thing, without any, I'm cooking, and to me that is what, if I say I'm cooking a dinner, I'm cooking the dinner. Okay, I'm doing it through PAs, directing them exactly what brand to use, etc., how much seasoning, blah, blah, blah. But people don't get it. They can't grasp it. If somebody comes around here for dinner, that invariably they might think, so who cooked it? Yeah, okay, yeah, we know you cooked it, but who helped you? They believe that it wasn't actually my cooking.
Yeah.
And so even though that might sound quite basic, it sort of forms the template to the work I make, I would imagine.
Yeah.
It has to. But if you're always, if society doubts your abilities from the moment you're born, so in my case, because I've never experienced being able-bodied, but my mind is able-bodied, and so everything I do, I don't expect. To me, it's just a given. If I say I'm cooking, it means I'm cooking. How I do it is not really anybody's business. But the fact is that it's people can't digest that because they can see that I physically don't move. And so I don't know how helpful this is, but I think...
Yeah, no, that's good. Yeah.
But so, and I think that is, again, part of many catalysts to my work.
I've seen, but I guess that's the thing. I feel like to be devil's advocate, I feel like
So do it.
the reason why the people were, advocating for disabled people and terminally ill people to have the right to end their life is because they physically can't do it themselves, whereas, able-bodied people can. Because I thought maybe their argument could be, I don't want to ethically implicate whoever's going to assist me. And that is the argument. And to be equal, they need different rights, they need different treatment. You know what I mean? And so I think that's the argument behind.
I think the argument is that it's always engages the assumption, the generic assumption, that disabled people need help in absolutely everything.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying this assumption that, and it is a huge, the arguments that go for and against are really powerful arguments. I think that, I'm not coming from that perspective. And to be honest, I just feel that the whole, it's become so, it is a dangerous thing to happen, should it happen. There's these questions of mortality and life and are in the news the whole time. For example, that baby that recently they turned the machine off. And it's like, I don't want to get directly involved in those conversations because I think it's become so much of it, and so many people chipping in that don't really know much about anything, that it's become quite sort of not a subject that I want to particularly work on anymore, because I feel that I've exhausted it, and I don't want my work to be seen as somebody who's trying to stop or support it. It's come to an end for me personally, because I just feel individuals and groups of people are so strong-headed in their beliefs. It's impossible to change. And I wasn't trying to change anybody. All I was trying to do was show the disparity and the absurdity of it in the relation to not being able to physically assist oneself without the assistance through delegating and directing somebody else who's paid to assist you. And that was my
So you talked about what started it off, but I feel like it's less for you. It's in a way, it's less about the ethical debate around suicide as much as it is about how people are going to perceive you on the basis of the fact that that is the predominant form of representation of someone like you, right? Is that
I think
correct?
That's quite good. I think it's to do, I wouldn't say me, I'd say anything that sits outside of the norm.
Okay, yeah, so, that's a life not worth living, right?
Exactly. I see somebody who needs assistance in eating or moving, or it's the viewpoint that unfortunately is quite a generic viewpoint that affects all of us as individually.
Yeah.
And so the ethical questions around it will just go on forever.
Yeah.
And so I'm not really wanting to be engaged with that to how I was.
Yeah.
Because I feel that I'm useless in arguments. Somebody can say, but what about you? Yeah, I can argue, but I don't want to be...
Yeah, so it's not about saying, it's not it's not preachy in that way. It's more like...
It's about seeing, it's basically crushing the whole... It's crushing equality.
Yeah.
It's literally, bashing it to pieces. It has a real, it has a real, detrimental effect on a society.
Right.
Because
it's basically saying Yeah, because it's basically
Yeah, and
just
it's also
a sort of eugenics
Exactly,
argument. Yeah,
totally.
that life's not worth living. Why
Yeah.
should we support that life?
Yeah. And it's also denial as well. It's denying the fact that, a high percentage of everybody's now living to get older. Everybody is going to need care and
I know,
support
and
at
society
some
is
point.
so in denial
And
of
it's like
that.
rejecting it. It's like
Yeah.
this.
Yeah,
It's like hiding it under the carpet.
yeah.
And so it's those things.
And that's how
as well.
most people get when they're older. They just want to, deny that anything's wrong.
Yeah, my parents are fine examples of that. They will not accept assistance because their belief is that immediately they start having help, they lose their independence.
Yeah,
And so here's me as a person, their daughter,
yeah.
and I can't influence them
Right.
in any way.
Yeah,
It's different for you, right? I can't influence them.
yeah.
And so I guess that's my argument, if I have one, which I do. It's just this sort of this perspective on anything that doesn't fit within a very narrow, I said on this to you before.
No, but
The narrow confines of what's deemed to be, the norm.
Yeah,
And that construct is so fucking narrow, it pretty much eliminates all of us. But everybody's in denial, and that's the transparency of it. So people believe that they fit within the norm, but actually nobody fits within the norm.
yeah,
There is no such thing as the norm.
yeah. So you're responding to the stories in the media about assisted suicide,
I
and
have done, but I'm sort of bored with it.
No, I know. So you have. No, I'm just trying to get to teasing out a bit more of the what you did in the work and what was the work about and stuff, and what was your what were the strategies you were using to address?
I used lots of strategies. So one was pretty much often using myself as the victim, and the video vlog was the first two things that I did, and put them out there on YouTube, and was bombarded with comments by religious people and people trying to stop me from wanting to end my life. And people really believing that it was what I wanted to do.
Right. No one not getting the joke. People not getting the joke.
No,
yeah.
Apart from maybe a couple of academics and friends. But most people really believed in it. And so for me, that was actually quite successful. Because it meant that I played the role.
Right.
And it was interesting, the amount of people that actually, hold on a minute. So there were actually people who were trying to stop me.
Yeah.
They weren't supporting it. So they were trying to say, but the way they were trying to stop me was in a really condescending way. So they were sort of understanding how I felt, but at the same time trying to say, but it's okay, so people were very empathetic towards what I was trying to do.
Yeah. So it's really about I think that there's a similarity between that and the playing the victim. I mean, there's a relationship because in a way, it's someone who is considering assisted suicide is seeing themselves as a victim and is automatically playing up to that sort of pathetic, my life is so horrible.
Yeah, exactly.
It's really related, isn't it? The website. Yeah, the crowdfunding thing, because it's playing on people's perception of you, which you don't agree with, right? Which is very much what the assisted suicide pieces are. It's I know you're looking at me and thinking that I might as well kill myself, so I'm going to play up to that idea in your minds, and I'm going to make fun of you for thinking that. I'm going to make fun of the idea.
I think the idea.
This is how, and this is even more. It's
it's taking it to another step.
Yeah, because it's I'm going to take your money. I'm gonna.
Well, I have.
Yeah, I'm going to.
Nearly 4
I'm
grand
taking.
of it.
Yeah, I'm going to capitalize on your pity. Yeah, and so it's very. It's like it's a similar,
that wasn't.
darkly humorous. Yeah.
I mean, that wasn't how I construed it.
It wasn't okay.
I wasn't thinking. But I think that's a really good.
How did you construe it? Like, tell me what you.
I think
how you saw it. If it wasn't like that.
No, that's really interesting to hear. But I think for me, it was more like a personal thing, because for me, I can't stand the way. Again, it's like looking at YouTube and looking at these terrible images of people with disabilities, and in particular my disability, and tear-jerking stuff, and trying to raise money to find cures, or them doing very nothing extraordinary, but it becoming so inspiring and so amazing. And again, it's sort of this whole, it's not helpful.
Yeah.
And so for me, it was about, first we have to have an awareness and understanding of how people really see you, and then start from that point.
Okay, so how did you go about doing that, finding out?
Well, obviously crowdfunding has become quite trendy.
Yeah.
Everybody's at it. And lots of disabled people are doing it as well. Like one person is trying to buy a private prosthetic leg for her sister. And it's all just, everybody's doing it.
Yeah.
And I find that again, the sentimentality used to try to get money out of people is, like you say, it's very much pity-based. The template is pity. It's like you engaging in that person, but not seeing them as equal or a strong individual, but seeing them as somebody who needs your help. And your help will be in the form of donations that will then make you feel better.
Right.
Now, as an artist, I knew that some people would have to be able to see through the transparency of and actually support it as an art piece. But for the sake of this crowdfunding, it has to be done in the way that I've set it up. I really drawing on pity. But in reality, I think most people that have funded it are just the art community.
Oh, really?
So I don't know if that's success or not. I don't really start scrutinising it. I just this is the crowdfunding.
Yeah.
Was to genuinely make enough money to get a professionally shot video.
Yeah, that's the idea. But I thought that was a joke.
No, that's for real.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah. That will simulate a music video that could be real.
Okay.
It's genuine in its content.
Okay.
And from that, it was then to put it out there and see what sort of reaction it generated.
And then how are you going to get it distributed?
Well, that's the question. And you see, the thing is, it's a bit of a challenge here, because it's like, how far do I want to take it? Do I really want to be invited onto the fucking morning programmes? Because they always have a disabled person on there. And I don't know whether I'm brave enough to take it to that extent where I would really be saying this is how I feel. But part of me thinks actually,
so this is how you feel like so the songs that you've written.
The song that I've written as a complete.
Is it like what you actually think and feel?
No, absolutely not. No,
okay,
no.
So it's sarcastic.
It's really, really dire, and it's really shit. And I got a composer to all the.
So it is a joke.
It's a parody of what already exists.
Okay.
In America and here as well, there are motivational speakers, some of whom are disabled. And the trigger point for this was I saw this guy, and he is a evangelist, as well as a disabled person with no legs or arms, and he goes around preaching all over the world. And basically, his message is, look at me, I'm disabled. You can do anything, I can, look at me.
Katherine was an avid collector of the kinds of representation that she was critical of. So here's a clip from her files of the evangelist preacher that she just mentioned. That's Nick Vujicic when he appeared on Oprah. And it gives you a clearer sense of exactly what she was responding to.
Being born without arms and legs, man, it's all about choice. You asked me what it was. I had parents who were my heroes. They always said, you can either be angry for what you don't have or be thankful for what you do have. Do your best and God will do the rest. And consciousness, because I gave my life to Lord Jesus Christ, and the renewing of my mind, wow, I knew that I could be unstoppable.
And then he did this music video, which was just absolutely horrendous. And so I thought, right, I'm going to do a music video as well that is a complete, me being this inspirational character in it.
And here's a short excerpt from that song.
Everywhere I go, I see you smile. See me brings tears to your eyes. I know I make you feel so sad, and that's because I look so bad. Searching for a cure is all I have. Wheelchair bound in my chair. Look at me, withering and trembling away. The crazy thing is that these things exist for real. So one could say, well, I'm going to do something for real. Well, no, it is for real. But it might well come across as real.
Yeah.
But that's the whole fucking idea. It has to come across as real. Otherwise, people just simply, it has to come across as real.
You use yourself in a lot of your work and you do a lot of video blogs. But it's never like there's always some specific tactic you're taking that you've decided on in advance, right? I mean, you're never just like presenting yourself as you feel yourself to be, like in an earnest, truthful way.
True.
Yeah.
That's true. It's always...
Would that ever appeal to you to do that? Why not?
Because...
It's too preachy, you think? You'd end up being preachy. And then people would switch off.
I would think, for me personally, it's far more interesting to present whatever it is I do within a persona. Okay, so and again, I don't believe that I am, I'm not the guru of disability or, I've created my own agenda and my own discourse and my own way of thinking. And okay, I've picked up bits and pieces along the way just by living.
Right.
And so I feel the only way it's about reinventing the whole time and representation, but in a different way. So, for example, you get a lot of disabled bloggers who see themselves as spokespeople for disability, or the sort of a role model, a positive role model. And again, it's so shit and so bad that I feel perhaps to come along and alter the reading so that people don't quite know how to read it.
Yeah.
And again, I just think by being in it changes people's perception. They can't. It changes. I've seen a lot of disabled people walking and they're just talking about their life and, oh, I've got this new gadget. And I'm not saying it's wrong to do it, but it does fulfill a mainstream stereotype. So I go against those stereotypes in a natural, and just can't help myself. It's just a natural thing for me to do. So,
But have you ever seen like a representation of disability that you actually thought was good?
no.
Never.
Yes, every absurd.
Okay. Yeah. But also, it's like, can it ever be just represented where it's a non-issue, where it's just about?
These are all the questions that
Yeah.
one asks.
It's like the phenomenon of colorblind casting. It's like where you cast people regardless of their race because you think they're right for the role, you know, or sex blind casting.
They're doing that at the National Theatre quite a lot.
Oh yeah.
And again, I think it's.
Do
I think
they
it
really
works.
do disability blind casting? I mean,
I think they started to.
okay.
I've got a few associates that I know that have been.
So because it's representation
mainstream.
then, but it's not. It's not about disability. It's just.
There was one piece where I saw a piece where someone that I know, a Facebook friend, and she was in a National Theatre production, and it was nothing to do with disability, and she was just there. So she's a restricted growth person. And so there were things that had to be done for her to be able to get onto the table and move around, blah, blah, blah. And they integrated her amazingly well. And it wasn't anything to do with disability. And the focus was on her. She was part of a group of dynamics.
Okay, so there you go. There are some. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you don't think you can contribute in that way of like.
Well, that's mainstream, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's learning a script, and also you're not in control of it. Somebody else has written the script. Somebody else is directing you. You know, with being an artist, you're very much.
You've got all the control. Yeah.
So totally.
Yeah.
And I don't even begin to try to explain to people where I'm at nowadays, where I think that will probably take forever. So that's why it makes more sense to just either if I collaborate with somebody in short, I will sit down and listen to what their idea is and go along with it. And it doesn't necessarily have to, it might not be necessarily a disability agenda, and I'm okay with that. But if it's my own work, it's important to have so much acute awareness of so many things, and I guess it all forms part of the work, but without me necessarily explaining it. It's just there.
Mm.
It exists. It's like you coming from New York, and your identity, you might not expose it, but it's there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. So that's great. I
Is
think
that
that's
helpful?
yeah, super helpful.
Thanks for listening to that interview with Katherine Araniello. I hope that it fuels your interest in her work and you'll go on to discover more on her YouTube channel. Again, the link is in the show notes. If you found it hard to make out everything that we were saying, there is a transcript available on Buzzsprout or on my website. There's a link to it in the show notes.
Next time on Multiple O's. Next time on Multiple
Next time on Multiple O's will be the first of many interviews of the second season of this very podcast. And it will be all of the best bits from my Instagram residency at Mimosa House, London, which is a gallery in London, which gave me a residency, for which I carried out 20 interviews with artists based in London, New York, and Los Angeles. So I will be airing them via the podcast because some of you may not be on Instagram, or some of you may have the kind of attention span that I have on Instagram, which is that you're just looking at the feed and the latest thing, and you're not searching through the back catalog of the people you follow to watch hour-long videos. That's just not what that platform leads to. So I'm hoping that these interviews can have a new life via the podcast in season 2, while I work on brand new interviews for season 3. Something to look forward to.
Multiple O's. Next time on Multiple O's. Oh.
Thank you so much for listening. If you're enjoying the series, please support me via patreon.com/Oriana Fox. And even if you don't, I'll go on accepting myself unconditionally, accepting my life and other people unconditionally as well, and I hope you do too, because we're all just fallible human beings.